We all develop an active imagination and roleplay as children. It's an important part of processing and understanding what we experience, and it allows us to simulate activities and social interactions we'll one day need to thrive. Of course, truly understanding something often requires experience we don't yet have. With that in mind, Lil Gator Game does an incredible job of capturing the wonder of an epic childhood make-believe adventure session, even if it's tinged with sadness at the lack of perspective we have in our youth and the inevitable loss of time and freedom that adulthood often brings. Regardless of whether you're focused on helping Little Gator try and get Big Sis to join his game and play like they used to, dealing with friend circles grappling with internal dynamics, or just engaged in once-off encounters with other children roaming the island, the writing is always a highlight. It feels age-appropriate for the cast, tags on the heartstrings, yet still manages to riff on many gaming-related quirks for constant smiles and the odd laugh. Encounters, big and small, are always easy to relate to and sympathize with, making the story feel far more personal than I expected. A brisk prologue reveals the start of Little Gator's strong relationship with his big sis, and reveals her knack for conceptualizing game systems. Events jump forward several years when she's returned from college for a supposed break. Hoping to rekindle their old relationship, Little Gator has gathered all his friends, highly motivated friends anyone would be envious of, to turn an island playground into an elaborate real-life role-playing game, complete with costumes, appropriate dialogue, no shortage of quests, and monsters crafted from plywood and cardboard. Naturally, things don't go to plan, and Little Gator decides a more elaborate spectacle is needed to draw Big Sis away from her assignment, setting up the basic structure for the rest of the game. From a central playground hub, Little Gator sets out to find their close friends, help them resolve issues within their extended friend circle so they'll return to the playground, and aid other wandering children with issues of their own. The more kids you get to the playground, the more elaborately they can redecorate it as a fantasy fort. On this epic journey, you'll encounter intellectual kids you too often forget learning should be a fun and shared experience, a gang so desperate to be the cool kids they struggle to express themselves as individuals, and a group of outspoken creatives that struggle to find compromise when their ideas clash. Along the way, you'll assist dozens of other children dealing with relationship problems and doubts that'll feel all too familiar. You'll also discover plenty of memory echoes that recount Little Gator's time with his sister when they were younger. All these elements build towards an excellent finale that challenges Little Gator's memories, perception of events, and their true intentions, while revealing more about Big Sis and working towards a satisfying ending that demonstrates considerable character growth. I'd argue to get the most out of Little Gator Game, you need an emotional hook. You need to immerse yourself in its somewhat implausible premise, and, given the lack of any voice acting, prepare yourself for a lot of reading if you want to truly appreciate the diverse cast and Little Gator's journey of discovery. The reason I say that is Little Gator Game is a playful but by-the-numbers 3D adventure, with focus on exploration, stamina and gear-restricted traversal, and a ton of checklist-style quests in an open-ish world, a well-trod formula. The adventure takes place across two peaceful and incredibly picturesque autumnal islands, with improbably clustered biomes and topography that would make it a death trap for real children in real life. From a gameplay perspective, that verticality is the perfect excuse to run, jump, slide, climb, and glide about constantly, as you destroy hordes of cardboard monsters, shatter ceramic pots, and discover new questing opportunities. That said, I was just glad that Little Gator Game has brisk pacing, and you can see the ending within 4 hours, as all those quests, even the more elaborate ones essential to progressing the story, are reliant on quality writing and humor to entertain, more so than the gameplay loop. The tutorial island provides the basic gear you need to climb, slide, and glide, but gameplay barely evolves from that point on. That's not to say questing won't reward you with paper scrap to purchase new outfits that slightly modify your abilities, bracelets to improve climbing stamina, or the odd bit of specialized gear that might allow you to grapple and float, badly, or hit distant monsters with projectiles. The problem is, even if you go in with a playful attitude and willingness to experiment with every tool, there are ultimately more efficient ways to perform the same task you've been doing all along. The great writing ensures that the context of your quest may change, but the gameplay mechanics do not. Now, if you enjoy exploration and checklists, Little Gator Game is full of charming sights and sounds. The visuals look simple, but they're chunky, vibrant, and striking. The cast is surprisingly expressive despite their angular features, and there's an optional filter if you want a heavily pixelated look that still holds up well. The catchy soundtrack includes string and piano pieces, coupled with a few chiptune beats, all of which feel appropriate for the different environments, and they add to the playful atmosphere. When it comes to summarizing my thoughts, I've got to give credit to MegaWobble for crafting a game that makes it difficult to criticize the gameplay without undermining praise for the narrative premise. Even if you truly believe gameplay is the only important element of a game, there are still a few hours of fun to be had, and Little Gator Game serves as a reminder that aggregated, pseudo-objective review scores are ultimately meaningless. I think what impressed me most is that in 4 briskly paced hours, Little Gator Game provided a more compelling premise, cast, and narrative trajectory than any big-budget cinematic adventure in recent memory. It's clearly a passion project for the developers, presumably inspired by their own experiences, but the themes are so broadly relatable that it's not hard to engage with emotionally. That alone makes it easy to recommend to anyone.
If you've got this far, please consider giving the video a like and maybe subscribing to our channel, as it helps us grow.